Well, hello, this is Matthew White from Herbert Freehills. We have just finished the 45th annual Oxford Joint Planning Law Conference. It's been a fantastic 2 days of presentations. The purpose of this really is just to give you a flavour of what we've heard and to introduce you to some of the other podcasts that you can listen to hear more from the speakers. The theme of the conference this year was Make Planning Great Again, and although it's often a loose theme that doesn't always bear a lot of relation to the content, this year I think it did serve very well, and we did hear from all of the speakers their ideas for how to make planning great again, as well as obviously highlighting some of the difficulties and challenges that we're all facing. And we began with Kate Rayworth, who gave a very interesting presentation on how to think like a 21st century economist, based on her book Donut Economics. And Kate really takes you out of your standard way of thinking about things and says maybe we need to look more widely about the purpose of planning and what it's for. And I think it was a very stimulating way to begin the conference. We moved on to Janice Morfitt. Janice is a professor at University College London and spoke about Brexit, which we felt was a subject we couldn't avoid this year. You have to really say something about it. Janice, I think it's fair to say, is not confident about the outcome of Brexit and sees a lot of challenges that will be facing us. And she sets all of those out in very great detail. And it's quite a challenging, thing to really face up to. So I would definitely commend you to listen to what she has to say about Brexit. We had Nick Walkley. Then Nick is at Homes England, and he talked about the new things that are facing Homes England and what they have to achieve in terms of delivering housing for us. And I think Nick of all the people we heard from has the most to do, but what really came across in his talk was he is the man to do it, and he's someone who does get things done, and there is a lot to get done. So I think definitely listen to Nick about what we're going to be seeing over the months and years ahead in housing. And then we have Catherine Hall. Catherine is the chief exec at Mid Sussex District Council, and of all the talks, actually, Catherine was the one who really sort of forced you to think about things from the other side. So a lot of us are involved in the private sector in particular, and we see things from one perspective. Catherine gave a very interesting insight into things from the other perspective, from the council side. And it was very interesting, her saying how planning is one of the dominant areas of her work, far more than you realise. And actually, taking yourself out of that position and looking at how bewildering the system is to someone who's not an expert in it, I think was a very instructive thing to do. Christine Whitehead spoke about breaking down the barriers to housing delivery. I think Christine is quite critical of the approach that the government is taking to housing delivery and some of the tools that they're using, such as objectively assessed need, which she is quite critical about, and about land capture and how to capture some of the value in which is created when planning permissions are granted. And she has some ideas there, so very good thing to look at. And again, looking at how we can make the planning system work better, how we can make it great again. Lucy Thomas from Ashurst spoke about compulsory purchase and estate regeneration. And there's been a few cases over the last year which really have cast some doubt over whether CPO can work in cases of estate regeneration. And I think Lucy looked at those, analysed them very carefully. And she also talks about how we need to bring CPO into the social media age, so sort of bring it up to date. And for anyone involved in compulsory purchase, I would commend her paper to you. And then on the second day, we heard from Chris Mealy of Montague Evans, and Chris was talking about the historic environment and heritage. And Chris's view is that we are in a dangerous time where almost everything has some heritage value, and it's almost as though all will have prizes. And if everything is special, then you end up with nothing being special. So he was quite critical of that approach, and very helpfully runs through some changes that we can make to policy to try and bring things back into a more logical way of doing things in terms of heritage protection. And then finally we heard from Jenny Wigley of Number 5 Chambers, and Jenny has run through the case law. Always a really awesome challenge to try and summarise the case law, but she did it incredibly well, and in particular on paragraph 14 of the NPPF and the tilted balance and all of the very difficult legal concepts around that. So if you want a very clear summary of where we've got to, then I would say that Jenny is the person to do that. So we've had a fantastic conference here this weekend. It's been tiring as always, but it's been very informative, and I think everyone's had a good time. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and please come to next year's conference. Thank you and goodbye.